Hey guys, Clough here, and today we will be turning our builds into block displays. The cool thing about this is if you're able to have all of these block display entities, you can manipulate the structure and do things like shrink it down into a miniature form. Look at this is a tiny version of our base. We can make it even smaller if we wanted to make this like a handheld thing, and we can move it around and manipulate it however we want. Now in this video, we are not going to go over how to shrink the entity. I just want to really quickly go over a cool trick to do that conversion into the blocks without the shrinking, and I leave the shrinking as a challenge for you. So sort of the pivotal data pack that we will be using to accomplish this goal is called block state. So this was actually created by Triton365. He's from I think South Korea. And this data pack essentially uses loot tables as a tree form to figure out what block with all of its block states you are currently at. And it does this in the most efficient manner. I've made some pack resources in the past that do this with function trees, but this method is significantly better. And so that's why we're going to use it. So I'm going to start by opening up Visual Studio Code. I've got these current extensions installed. I've got the data pack icons and the MC data pack. So inside my data pack, I have the namespace M, which has functions load and tick, and I have .minecraft, which has load and tick.mc function. So to get block state to work, we need to go to tags, then we need to go to 1.0.3, and then we need to download blockstate.zip. One thing to keep in mind is block state is roughly 529 kilobytes, which is much smaller than other methods for this as well. So that's all good, but it is kind of large for a data pack. So once we've imported block state, we just need to use it. And to use it, essentially you need to just run some basic commands. So if I type /reload, I can do /loot and then give @p and then loot or mine. We'll just do loot and then block state : get. So if I do this, it'll give me raw cod, and the raw cod will have data based on the block it is. So data get entity as selected item. And the data it has is that the custom data component of the block that it ran in is air. So if I have a repeater and I run this again, now I can hold the cod and it will say all the data for the repeater that I'm in. So to manipulate this, we need to loot that item of cod onto an entity. And the most efficient way to do this is with an item display. So we come to mcstacker.net, we type in item display, type in the word item, pick item display. We're going to make its view range 0. We're going to make its width 0. We're going to make its tag. We're going to give this a tag called min. We're just going to call it min. And that is all we need from it. The next thing is we need to have a hard-coded UUID. In his example, he uses 0000. In this example, I will also use 0000, but for future reference, you should use a custom UUID number that you have. Once you have that custom UUID number, you go to the Minecraft UUID converter website, and you can type in or you can generate a random. So this is the UUID numbers you'll use for your entity, and this is the string that you will use when you refer to the entity in an execute command. So we go ahead and copy this into this load command, and you don't have to worry about this running multiple times. You can only have one entity with the same UUID. I have this extra data that's not necessary. So this will summon the item display, and it'll have a UUID of 0. And you want to summon it somewhere like 000 or 0-640. And then you're going to want to create a new function here. So we're going to copy this. We're going to rename this to get. And this will be our command that gets what block the current block is. So we're going to run that as that entity. And instead of @s, we would just have 0-0-0-0-0, and that will give us the entity here with this UUID. And then we're going to do data modify entity @s, and now we have to modify the block's display. So we're going to summon a block display, and this block display is going to have some block. We'll call it, we'll use dirt, right? And we'll remove these other datas here, and we'll give this a tag of min. We'll just keep a tag of min. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you summon a block display. We don't need to specify a UUID for this guy. And so it has this data called block_state. So we just have to copy the data from the codfish to the block state data. So we're going to do data modify entity @s block state set from entity. And then we're going to set it from this entity, and we're going to copy the path for that codfish. So it's going to be item.components dot Minecraft colon custom data. So only a minor typo here, but item is supposed to be lowercase in this. So now if I type /reload and I run it, it will give us this. It'll spawn a block display that looks identical to it. Hey, yay, we're done. We did it. We accomplished our goal, right? No, wrong. How do we do it to a giant amount of them all at once? Really, like how do we actually accomplish that? So some of you who are very experienced, such as myself, would say, okay, well, we just have to iterate in a triple for loop and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or we need to have a bunch of hard-coded commands that do little offsets, one by one offsets. But that would be kind of annoying because you would want to accommodate for any size structure possible. And so I came up with a very sneaky solution that isn't necessarily the best performance, but man, it'll make this video a lot shorter. So we're going to hop over to yet another website that I use for this stuff, and that is Misode. So we go into Misode's website and we type in dimension. And once we type in dimension, he's going to allow us to make our own dimension in here. So we change the generator to super flat, we set the biome to void, and then we get this code here. We're going to download it and drag it into our namespace. We're going to go right here. And then inside M, we're going to create a new folder called dimension. And then we're going to drag this dimension into the dimension folder. And we're going to rename this dimension to commands. And then I have to exit and reload the world. It's going to give me this warning saying that I'm using experimental settings, but that's all good. Now I can do execute in m:commands run tp at s. Guess what? We are in the void dimension. And so why did I use the void dimension? Well, you can kind of guess because of the word commands. But the trick that we're going to use here is every block in commands has a sister coordinate in the overworld, and that sister coordinate can be one of the blocks that you are trying to turn into a block display. And what we can do is we can put a command block inside the commands dimension, and the command block will run something in the overworld dimension to summon a block display there. And this makes the code very, very simple. Execute in commands, and I already have another dimension for my other version of the data pack. Then I'm going to run fill, and I'm going to fill some area with a command block, and then I have to go to MC Stacker to make sure that I have this data correct. So we'll go fill, and we'll go command block, and we will make it auto true, and the command will be function. We're going to run the command execute summon block display run function m:get. But we need to add in the beginning here in Minecraft overworld. So this will take us back to the overworld when the command runs, but the command is going to be running in that other dimension, so it doesn't overwrite itself. And so once we get that in there, and we go ahead and replace this right here, that is where the magic is going to happen. So I'm going to place this down in a command. I'm going to go 1, 1, and then we're going to go 8, 8, 8. So this will just not copy this command block, it'll just copy a bunch of stuff over here. So I'm going to click this, I'm going to click this, I'm going to click that, we're going to power that. Now, the one tiny hitch that you have to get over here is that the position is not loaded. So all I have to do is do execute in m:commands run force load, and that'll force load these chunks. And then when I run this, then boom, we have our entities right there how we want them. So that is literally it. Probably once I've edited this video, it'll be like 10 minutes or less. You're probably surprised. All we got to do is, instead of put the word replace, put destroy. And so now we can just do it over and over again. So kill at eType equals block display. And if I change like one block in here, I put like a redstone repeater, you're going to get a redstone repeater inside the block displays perfectly. You also notice that it's a little bit offset there. So if you want to, you can also add an align XYZ. And if you throw align XYZ in there, then they'll be completely overlapping just like that. And then we can do execute as at eType equals block display at s run tp at s, and then you can teleport them 10 blocks back. And now you have your little creation here. If you guys thought this was useful and have any interesting plans to use this somewhere, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Peace.